Hey, what's happening? Good one, SirJames coming at you guys with another video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed your weekend, which has clearly passed by now because it's already Wednesday, and of course, hopefully you guys had a good 4th of July. I was wanting to do this video yesterday, but one, the internet was down, and two, I was waiting for one more package for this video. But today, I have a video game haul to share with you guys. I do have a box full of goodies here, and of course, I have an item off to the side as well. So to kind of go over the categories, we have items that I got through OfferUp, eBay, GameStop, and of course GameStop.com. There's a reason why there's two little transactions there. So before I get started, I do want to give you guys some good news. For my longtime fans, you guys know that I do work 3 jobs. And the third job that I work at, which I never specifically stated where I work at, but I am a building maintenance engineer. Now, I've been working there for almost 4 years now. When I first started off, I was working the hours of 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. Then I was eventually moved over to 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. But now they moved me over to full-time officially, which means that I now have Saturdays off to myself. And of course, I'm working 8 hours, 5 days a week. So overall, that's really good news for me, and which means I'm just trying to work out a schedule. Now, because of that, that doesn't mean I'm going to have less time here on YouTube. The reason why I may not upload for a few days is because I'm not currently working on an assignment, or I just didn't have anything that's worth uploading to you guys at the time. And that's the only reason why. It's not like I'm super busy and I can't do YouTube anymore. So there's nothing to worry about that. You can expect more content as time goes on. I'm actually expecting a few items that are going to be sent over for me to review for you guys. So that should be fun. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to this haul, shall we? So let's go ahead and start with the item that I got through OfferUp. This is an item. Oops, sorry if that picked up on the mic. But this, of course, as you can tell, is a PlayStation 1, the original PlayStation. Now, yes, I do have a PlayStation 1, except this one is a much better condition, meaning that there's no scratch marks on this at all. Now, this is one that I actually paid $5 for, which actually did come. Here it is. Actually did come with a memory card. I guess the guy was cleaning out his garage. He found this in there, didn't know if it works or not. He didn't have a power cable, but he did have AV cables. And again, no games, and I made an offer of $5. He accepted it. The system does indeed work. It cleaned up really nice, and there was actually an extra bonus for me because when I opened up the disc tray before dismantling it, I ended up finding that there was a game inside, which I realized is not in this box. The game is the X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which is normally about $30, $35 loose on eBay anyway, so that was a nice score for me, and it's actually a very good game. But again, that one was through OfferUp. If you guys don't know what OfferUp is, and this is not a sponsor in any kind of way, it's an application you can download on your phone. It's kind of like Craigslist for mobile. I think that's the best comparison. But it's worth checking out. And you can even do like trades and stuff like that. It's how I've been usually getting stuff back and forth, or making a little bit of money on the side. Let's see, next up is what I got through eBay. So we have 3 items through eBay. We'll start with the ones here. So the first one here is a loose copy of a Sega Saturn game called Warcraft 2: The Dark Saga, a classic game that I also have on a PC. But this version here is for the Sega Saturn. This was actually selling loose for about $8 with free shipping. And normally this is around $20 loose, or if you wanted to complete with the original case, it goes for about $50. So in terms of pricing, it's not too bad, but $8 free shipping. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and take the deal because it's a fun game and I wanted to get some games for the Saturn, which I'll explain why in a few minutes. And then the other game here is, of course, a classic personal favorite of mine, which is Command & Conquer. I'm a huge fan. I've always wondered why there hasn't been any more Command & Conquer games. I know there's been some things going off on the sideline. There's like some free-to-play one, but I want Command & Conquer to make a return. Who's with me? But of course, this one is for the Sega Saturn, and this one has a 2-disc set where you have the GDI forces and of course the nod as well. But again, really fun game, which means me, by having this one now, I technically have this particular game on all platforms. This first one right here. So I do have a couple box copies up in the rafters sealed actually. I would like to get those signed, hopefully if that's possible. Let's see. Oh, I left out. Nope, we still have one more eBay item. Now this is a game that I've been trying to get basically for over a year, to the point where I've missed out on 34 different auctions, and I've been really upset that I haven't had it yet. And I was also upset more at Sony because Sony hasn't added to their PlayStation Store. As you guys know, you could buy and download PlayStation 1 games from the PlayStation Store, and this game wasn't even on there. This is the Valkyrie Profile. Got this for about 80 plus shipping, because I don't have any like local games stores that sell retro stuff, so I can't find any good deals. But my goal was to pay less than $100, and for $83 it was well worth it for me. I know some people have been lucky enough to get it for $5-10, but hopefully Sony will add this to the PlayStation Store so you guys could experience it. But it's a really fun game. Now if you have a PSP or a PSP Go, you could actually find a ROM file to do that. I know some people may not like using ROMs, but I support it as long as you support the developers in some way. So like I said, there it is. This one is actually a really good copy because the discs didn't have any scratches on it. And of course, this one also has the manual as well, so fully complete. I'm just probably going to get like another shell casing or something like that if I can find one that's a little bit more cleaner. Just a little bit of scuff marks on the actual case. But the jewel case isn't damaged, so that's another bonus. I've already put about 2.5 hours into it, but so far my adventures in it is looking promising, and there's also multiple endings, thus increasing the replay value. And I love games like that. I love RPGs. But anyways, next up we have Toys R Us. Now, when it comes to PlayStation Vita, you guys know I love the PlayStation Vita, but Sony, on the other hand, has been lacking support, specifically in North America. But there are companies still releasing games for it, which I am thankful for these companies, like NIS and all that. And this is an item that I didn't expect to find at all, and that is, of course, the PlayStation TV. I figured, as far as retail stores go, these are already gone. But I managed to find one at my local Toys R Us. They must have brought it out because the box is in a bit of a rough shape, so it must have been sitting in the back somewhere collecting dust. And I managed to price match this for about $30, so it's a relatively good deal. And of course, if you've been wanting to play PlayStation Vita games but you didn't want the actual handheld console, this would have been the cheaper option to get. You could still find these online relatively easy, keep that in mind. But of course, you could play your PlayStation Vita games on the big screen, or if you're going to be recording, that might be an easier way. But there is the whole HDCP copyright protection, which there's no way to disable it on this thing, so you're going to have to get like a splitter and all that. But anyways, there is that one. I was happy to find that. Let's see, and we're going to go ahead and start with the GameStop, or the first portion of GameStop, the items that I got in store. With this one, we have the Hyperdimension Neptunia Mk2. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Hyperdimension series, something that it's worth checking out in my opinion if you haven't had it the chance. They actually recently had the entire set on sale on Steam not that long ago. I don't know if it's on sale now, but I think there's a sale for the European PlayStation Store at the moment. So again, whatever way you can, you should definitely check out the series. There's a lot of references, and basically all the girls in the game represents different consoles. And actually, speaking of Steam, I did buy 2 games from the summer sale. One of them was the Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, because I never played the game before. Lovely game, by the way. And the other one is it was the latest release of this series on PC, which is, I can't remember the name, this Sega Super Tag Mention. I don't know. They have a lot of spin-off series, so they keep changing up the name in some way. But I bought the latest version on PC. I'll probably put like an image to showcase it. But there's that one. Next up is Star Ocean on the PlayStation 4. I used a $15 off coupon for a pre-owned game, so I got this for only $5. I've played the Star Ocean one on the PS1 and PS3, but never got to play the PS4 copy because when I looked at reviews, which I looked at a good handful of it seemed to have mixed opinions amongst its fan base. So I figured for $5, it's worth checking out. I just heard like the main negative would probably be the AI companions. So we'll see how it goes, because every time I see the trailer, it still catches my interest. I still want to check out the game, so now I got that opportunity. You figured, with all these RPGs and stuff like that, how do I have time for all this? Let's see. I guess we'll go ahead and start with this one. I do apologize if I start looking worse and worse, because you're probably noticing that I'm starting to dripping sweat because it's hot out here and my AC is off. But this next one is one that I do have on the Vita. It's actually a really good game. This one is the Fate Extilio, the Umbra Star. This one doesn't really often go on sale, but this was part of the 4th of July sale where you get well, $10 off. So instead of 60, it's 50. And again, there's never really any big sales for this one for some odd reason. But if you do have the Vita copy as well, you could actually do the whole cross-save function, so you could transfer save datas. But this is actually a really fun game. I wanted to get on the PS4 because the PS4 copy not only was in 60 frames, but of course it'll be able to display a lot more enemies than what you can't get on the Vita. And it's still an amazing game. But again, worth checking out. Next up, these are a couple other games that were also part of the 4th of July sale. The first one, I paid $20 for a brand new copy of Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, this game came out not that long ago, and to get this game for $20 now, I think it's a pretty good deal. Yes, I did buy this game when it first came out, but I also returned it 3 days later, and I got my full money back for it because of all the main issues, and I was really upset. As a Mass Effect fan, I was disappointed in what was happening, and I said to myself, I'll give this game a second chance after there's been updates and patches to fix whatever it is that they need to do. And if it ever drops down to $20, and well, it's $20 right now, at least until the 16th, by the way. And I think you could also get it through online if you prefer ordering it. So I'm giving it a second chance. By the time I'm done with this video, the update should be done. So I'll be venturing off into it and hopefully completing it this time, because I didn't really get far with it. So there's that one. And the other one that I got, part of their 4th of July sale, is the Star Wars Battlefront Ultimate Edition. Now, I traded in my copy of EA Star Wars Battlefront for this one, even though technically it's the same game. But the reason why is because, one, I didn't have all the DLC. The Ultimate Edition actually has the Season Pass included, which means you get the base game plus all the downloadable content that's been released. And it's cheaper this way because of the DLC. I think it's like $10-15 a piece. But basically the deal here, and I know PlayStation has it on sale, and I'm not sure about Microsoft, but if you go to GameStop and you pre-order Star Wars Battlefront 2, whether it be for PlayStation or Xbox, not only are you getting beta access and putting $5 down towards your reserved copy, but you could actually take $30 off of this one, meaning that you could get this one brand new for only $10. And again, this has all the DLC, so to have EA Star Wars Battlefront, the first one, all the content for $10, honestly, it's well worth it, especially if you're excited for the second one like I am. Then it's worth checking out all the DLC. You know, you got the whole Death Star sequence in there, which I'm looking forward to playing because I haven't got to experience all the other DLC content. But again, that's that one. And of course, we're saving the best for last, or the best for me in this case, because this is a huge part of my childhood. If you guys ever wanted to know what year I was born, what my first console was, you're about to find out. Well, you guys probably already know my age if you've been with my channel for a while, but I was born January 30th of 1990. So yeah, I'm a completely 90s person, so fond memories of that time. And the first console that I ever got was in 1995 when I turned, obviously, 5 years old. And this was the first console that I ever had as a kid growing up, which is the Sega Genesis, specifically the Sega Genesis Model 2. I don't recall the year in which this was released. I don't know if it says it back here or not. Maybe it does somewhere in the fine print, but this was the system that I first had growing up as a kid. It's a huge part of my childhood, and just for some odd reason, I've been wanting to go back to that portion of my life and to play and beat the games that I never got to beat in the past, due to the fact that you know, my ADHD and stuff like that was a bit crazy. But now I've gotten past most of that anyways. It's only there just a little bit. But actually what I did forget, to be funny, because I wanted to save that for last, is I completely forgot this one right here. I also got the Sega Saturn from GameStop.com. I've been waiting for these ones to turn up eventually. This is the Model 2, so that's the reason why I got the Sega Saturn games. And which, by the way, since I'm talking about this, when this did arrive, it actually didn't have the power cord, which was a bit weird, even though it should have. But the power cord is your pretty basic one. It's like the same one that you'd use for the PlayStation 1, original Xbox, PS2, so just a lot of systems in general. But anyways, going back to the Sega Genesis Model 2, I can't believe that slipped my mind. But anyways, for this one, this is actually the second one that I had to get from GameStop.com. The reason why is because the first one that arrived, which was last week on, what was it, on a Tuesday? No, it was on a Monday. I plugged it in, the games popped up, it did power on, but the port 1, controller port 1, didn't work, which means it was completely useless because I can't play the game. Unless if I was player 2, I could play as like Tails, for example, in Sonic 2. So I took it back. GameStop actually did order a new one. They actually even paid for a one-day shipping, so I got a replacement literally the next day, which this is the replacement, and it does work 100% port 1 and port 2. So again, I just thought I'd share that because I like to be honest with that type of information. But anyways, when the games arrived, especially like for Sega Genesis, for example, the games may or may not come with the original case, so you have to kind of keep that in mind. It even tells you on their websites. But two of the games did come with the original casing. The first one is Tasmania. Now, I thought this was the Tasmania game that I had as a kid, but apparently this is not the correct one. The one that I had was the Tasmania Escape from Mars. But this is I'm assuming the first one, so it's worth checking out, and it did have the case. In regards to the Sega Genesis 2, I really don't care about them having the original case. If there is one game that I do care about having the original case for, it's this one here, which of course is Sonic the Hedgehog, and this one did come with the original case, so that made this one even better. But yeah, this is the one that I care about the most, having the original case, and the fact that's there makes it just much more cherishable for me, just right in the feels. Anyways, let's see. Let's go ahead. Oh, there's the games for them too, by the way. I didn't have them in the case because again, for whatever odd reason, I like the Sega Genesis games loose. They just feel natural, and I like the sounds that they make. Well, of course, the basic, if the game's not working, you take it, go blow into the cartridge and put it back into the slot. People saying blowing into it is not effective, or you shouldn't do that. So anyways, going down memory lane here, I've got all the games I could possibly get that they had in stock or listed on their site. There's still a few that I'm missing. For example, Tasmania Escape from Mars, Tom and Jerry, Toy Story, Little Mermaid, and Sonic Spinball are the 5 games I'm missing from my childhood. But here is what I was able to obtain. The first one, of course, is Disney's The Lion King. Now, when it comes to this game, the portion that I was stuck at is the I can't wait to be king bit, for after you jump on the giraffes and, of course, roar at the monkeys to get to the next location. The last portion is where you put onto the giraffe, you roll down on an ostrich, and then from there, it's basically you have to jump once or jump twice. And it's the portion where you jump twice. I keep hitting some invisible barrier or wall. If you guys know what mistake I might be making, let me know, but I seem to be timing the jumps just right, or at least I assume, all the variations that I've tried, but I can never get past that jump twice bit for whatever stupid reason. But I'm hoping to get past it. If I can't, then there is a code, I believe, where you can't skip to the next level, so I might just do that. But I'm dedicated to finally beating this game. Next up is a game that I have beat in my childhood, which is, of course, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, this game is actually pretty easy. Some say it's a little bit of a Street Fighter clone in some way. But, of course, you start off with your standard battle, then afterwards you go into a Megazord fight. But when you're choosing the Rangers, like the easiest way here is that if you choose to play as the Black Ranger Zack, he actually has a move where he uses his Power Axe spin attack, and you can easily defeat enemies that way. But I didn't beat it that way. I actually beat it legit. Now, if you do beat the game, you could actually play as the Green Ranger known as Tommy. So that's another character. So you have basically all the Rangers there. And there's no White Ranger in this version. At least I don't recall. I'm pretty sure there wasn't. Next up is one that I did recently beat last weekend. That is, of course, Disney's Aladdin. The portion that I was always stuck at during my childhood was the bit where you're in the Cave of Wonders. And basically, after you find the magic lamp, Abu, of course, touches the treasure, and then from there you're making your escape, and the last portion of the sequence is where you're on the magic carpet, and of course the genie is helping you by either you go up or down, and as you're going, it gets going faster and faster to the point where your reaction time gets slower and slower in some areas, at least for me that was. And then of course I could just never get past that part, but I recently beat it last week. There's actually a photo of me. So I'm happy about that one. It's one game that I could put behind me, but still one of the best Aladdin games to date. Next up is Jurassic Park. Now in this game, of course, you can play as the human side or, of course, the Velociraptor. I don't really have a big childhood for this one because I would say for me, for this game, the opening sequence always scared me when you have the little cinematic with the T-Rex coming out. And then, of course, I could never get past the first level. So I think I got this one like cheap back in the day. I think I paid like $1 for it. Next up is the Street Fighter 2. This is the Special Champion Edition, but I think mine back in the day was just the regular edition, so this is more of an upgrade for me. But I'm going to have to get the 6-button layout controller for the Genesis, because the one that it comes with through GameStop is the 3-button layout. Next up is the Sonic 3D Blast. I've gotten far in this one, but I don't think I've actually beat it back in the day. And then next up we have Sonic 2. I mean, can't go wrong. And yes, I'm fully aware of the Sonic Mania edition. I was wanting to get the collector's edition, but I realized that the Sonic statue was on a Sega Genesis Model 1, and I'm not catered to the Model 1, so like I just kind of threw me off. I'd rather have it the option where you could get the Sonic statue on a Model 2 Sega Genesis, then I would have probably gotten it, but again, that's just kind of a personal choice. The last two games here is, of course, Tiny Toon Adventures, the Buster's Hidden Treasure. Now, I've gotten really far in this one, because for this one, in order to keep track of your levels, you actually get a code that you implement, and then from there you can continue your game. But I believe I was in the lava section of the game, so I'm going to have to probably look up codes to see what part I was actually at. Because if I just look at the world map, then I could easily pinpoint that's where I was last. But again, or I just might start a new game. But I did get pretty far to the point where I think I was close at beating it. And this last one here, this is a game that I did not have in my childhood, but I did rent, and it was actually a lot of fun. And this is the Robocop versus Terminator. If you have a Sega Genesis, this is an easily recommendation right here, or you could also get around for it if you want to check it out that way. But again, really fun game, one of the better Robocop games out there. And that's pretty much it for this haul. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. But like I said, just want to bring you guys the news that on the one job where I'm a building maintenance engineer, I am now working full time. I have Saturdays free for myself, which means my plans for the PlayStation Experience event at the end of the year should hopefully go a lot better. But I'll fill you guys in more when that time comes. But anyways, I'll catch you guys later and enjoy the rest of the day. And again, I'll bring you guys some more content as content becomes available for me to do. See ya.